Welcome back to class number 7. You know, up to this point, we've talked about many things, how humor and laughter will help us with the sadness, the depression, and suicide. What happens when it doesn't? That's what this class is about. After a presentation that I did, again, these stories come from just people that have seen You Just Have to Laugh presentations. And he said, David, could I have a word with you? And of course, and I said, let's go in a private place. And thank God it was. And he said, he did that. He just stalled like that. He said, you're leaving something out. How to get through tragedy, how to get through sadness, how to get through depression. I said, please, this has nothing to do with humor or laughter. He goes, no, not at all. I said, well, please tell me. He said, I ran over my 2-year-old daughter and killed her. My wife was gone. My 3 little ones were in the house. I told them to stay inside. Daddy had to back the truck out of the garage. So I went through the house to the garage, shut the garage, opened the garage door, and I backed out my truck. And when I backed over my truck, I felt something. I'd run over something, and I got out and looked. It was my 2-year-old daughter. She had come out the front door, and she wanted to see what I was doing. And I ran over her, and I killed her. What do you say? What do you say at a moment like that to somebody? He obviously got very teary-eyed and composed himself. I just sat there and let him compose himself. I didn't know what to say. I'm not a man who's for a loss of words usually. And I said, so please, sir, what got you through it? He said, what got me through it is I started serving more at my church. I started helping people. Anything they need, I started serving them. I started helping them. I started doing that more around the house with my wife and kids. I helped them any way and every way I could. And he said, I heard in your presentation the memory goes away. And he said, you're right, it never goes away. It haunts me every day. And I can't make any sense of it. And he said, I was sitting listening to you, and humor, laughter, that doesn't even enter into the equation here, is what he told me. He said, but what got me through it was helping other people and helping my family. Because there was no sense to be made out of what happened. But by helping other people and serving the community and serving God is what he told me. He said that made some, not sense out of it. That's not what he said. He said what it did was it lessened the pain and helped me honor her. I'm going to share another story with you. I mean, the meeting ended pretty somber, but I thanked him for that. And then I remembered I interviewed another guy. His name is Art Fillmore. Art Fillmore is a Vietnam vet. They called him Killer because he was the guy in the helicopter who was appointed where the people were, and they killed people from the helicopter when he was in the Vietnam War. He said one time him and a buddy got off the plane, and I started to, the helicopter. He said, I started to get off and run. He goes, no, you go over here. I'll go this way. He went that way, and a machine gun just obliterated the guy, dead, blown apart. He said it could have been me. He said, David, for 15 years, I had nightmares. He said, matter of fact, within 48 hours, when I came back from Vietnam, I went to the University of Missouri football game, and every time they scored a touchdown, they fired off a cannon. He said, I was in the stands, and they fired off the cannon. The next thing I knew, I was under the bleachers. He said, for every day for 15 years, I had nightmares. And then I get a call and help a group called Heart to Heart International take medical supplies back over when the rebuilding of Saigon. And he went over there with medical supplies to help Gary Morrish, Dr. Gary Morrish, and Heart to Heart. And when he's walking around the hospital, there was a man crying. He goes, he was talking to him, what's wrong? And he said, my son's dying. And he said, what kind of medication? And he said, all we're having is French herbs. That's all they have to give him is French herbs, and he's dying. And so Art had a package of medical supplies, of pills. And he said, will this work? And the guy took him to the doctor. What he had in those pills, that medication, saved that boy's life. And of course, the father hugged. Now, here's what happened. The father hugged Art because they hated Americans and heard he was a soldier. All of a sudden, they bonded. He did that. And Art told me that night and ever since, his nightmares never came back. The whole point of this class, excuse me, I have to clench. Remember that? Remember that in one class? You can't cry and clench at the same time. Remember that class? Yeah. The power of helping other people is also an additional component and element and tool you can use to get through suicide and depression. Yes, humor and laughter works. Yes, they turn down the volume of that. But by helping somebody else, something magical happens. And that's by the story that I told you with Leon, the first story, and this story with Art. So, if, and God forbid you're going through sadness and depression, something that's serious, and humor and laughter is not working, and maybe it is working, but you need even more, try serving other people. Try helping other people. It really does work. When you do that, what it does, I figured, it just gets you out of yourself. It gets you out of yourself and helping other people. And like laughter in a way, and humor, it reboots you. It makes you feel good that you're helping somebody else and gets you out of that thinking. You know, Leon honors his daughter every day by serving. That's the best he could come up with, and it works. Find out what works for you. Now, the next class coming up is something that I had no idea existed until I interviewed Dr. Jean Moretta. And it's a part of therapy called EMDR. And it works. And it works with the emotions that you can't even remotely begin to manage of sadness and depression and suicidal thoughts. That's the next class. Stay amused, folks. Keep laughing. Don't forget to clench. It really helped me right there. And also, help others and serve people. It really does make a difference. See you at the next class. Don't miss Dr. Jean. It's the last class. And gonna let you know there is so many opportunities that we have to go through sadness and depression. Not opportunities we have, opportunities to heal it. Pardon me, that's what I meant to say. Opportunities that we can heal. There's humor. There's laughter. There's helping other people. There's also prayer. I understand that. And now there's another way. Dr. Jean's going to tell us about that in the next class. I look forward to seeing you there.